A world where loyalty comes in the form of a dog, but that loyalty is rejected by those who don't understand it. What happens when a dog saves the very person who once hated it? Stick around to discover how a life-changing event completely turned things around. You won't believe how this story ends. In a small town, a young black boy, full of hope and dreams, arrives at a local hotel, accompanied by his loyal dog. They share a bond so strong, it's hard to separate them. But not everyone is a fan of this unique friendship. Meet the hotel manager, a man whose disdain for dogs runs deep. To him, they're nothing but trouble. And when he sees the boy with his dog, he decides enough is enough. He kicks them out without a second thought, driven by his belief that dogs have no place in his hotel. But this isn't just any dog. This dog has a secret. It's more than just a pet. It's a protector, a hero in disguise. Now, here's what you'll learn in this video. How a simple act of rejection leads to an unbelievable twist of fate, where the dog becomes the hero, saving the manager from a danger he never saw coming. You'll see how a man's views can completely change in an instant, and how loyalty can turn into something far more powerful than anyone could have imagined. Why should you watch till the end? Because this is a story of redemption, of surprising twists, and the kind of loyalty that goes beyond what most people would expect. And trust me, by the end of this story, your view on dogs, and even life, might just change forever. The hotel lobby was quiet, the kind of place where silence seemed to hang in the air, broken only by the soft shuffle of footsteps on the polished floor. But then, the door swung open, and in walked the young boy, his eyes full of excitement, holding tightly onto the leash of his dog. The dog, a scruffy little thing with bright eyes and a wagging tail, trotted beside him, its movements matching the boy's joyful energy. The boy looked around, scanning the lobby as if he were trying to decide where to settle in for the night. But then, the hotel manager appeared. His expression was stern, almost cold, as he walked up to the boy. His eyes narrowed, focusing on the dog with a look of utter disdain. "No pets allowed," he snapped, his voice sharp and unforgiving. The boy's smile faltered for a moment. He looked down at his dog, the one who had been by his side through thick and thin. His heart sank, but he didn't argue. He knew better than to fight someone like the manager, especially when the man had this strange, deep-seated hatred of dogs. The boy could feel the weight of the moment, but he didn't want to make a scene. "Please," the boy said quietly, "we just need a place to stay for the night. My dog won't cause any trouble." The manager's frown deepened. "I don't care. Dogs bring nothing but problems. I've had enough of them." His voice lowered, and for a brief moment, the boy caught a glimpse of the manager's past, something dark and unresolved. It was clear this wasn't just about the rules. There was something more personal, some old bitterness that fueled his hatred of dogs. The manager's eyes flashed with a coldness that could freeze the air. "You can leave now," he ordered, his voice firm. The boy stood frozen, looking down at his dog, who wagged its tail as if oblivious to the tension in the air. The boy felt a lump rise in his throat, but he didn't raise his voice. He just nodded silently, gently pulling the dog's leash and walking toward the door. As they left, the boy glanced back one last time, but the manager didn't even look up, his back already turned as he went about his business. Outside, under the dim light of the street lamp, the boy paused for a moment, his hand resting on his dog's head. "Don't worry, buddy," he whispered, his voice soft but filled with love. "We'll be okay. It's just one night. We'll find another place." And with that, they walked off into the night, the boy and his dog, Two souls who only had each other, and that was enough. The night was unusually quiet, the kind of silence that made every small sound feel amplified. The hotel was dark, most of its guests asleep in their rooms. Only a few dim lights flickered in the corners of the long, empty hallway. But then, a soft rustling echoed through the corridor. Something wasn't right. The sound of muffled footsteps and hushed voices crept into the hotel's stillness. The thieves had arrived. They were quick, moving in the shadows, sneaking past the front desk unnoticed. They had one goal: to break in and take whatever they could find. The hotel manager was still in his office, oblivious to the danger lurking just a few steps away. But there was someone who wasn't oblivious. The dog, curled up in a corner near the lobby, suddenly raised its head. Its ears twitched, alert to the strange noise that seemed out of place in the quiet hotel. The dog's eyes narrowed, focused on the hallway where the thieves were creeping toward the manager's office. Without a second thought, the dog jumped to its feet, its tail straightening with purpose. It didn't hesitate. It knew something wasn't right, and it knew what it had to do. With a sudden burst of energy, the dog bolted down the hallway, its paws echoing against the floor. It reached the thieves in an instant, barking loudly, a sharp warning sound that echoed through the building. The thieves froze, startled, as the dog lunged at them. One thief tried to swipe at the dog, but it was too fast. The dog darted around him, barking fiercely, its teeth showing in the dim light. The thief stumbled backward, fear replacing his earlier confidence. The dog's relentless barking grew louder, and it didn't stop. The noise was enough to wake the manager from his work-induced daze. He rushed out of his office, only to find chaos unfolding before his eyes. The thieves, now clearly panicked, were scrambling to escape, but the dog had already driven them back, blocking their path. In the confusion, one thief bolted for the exit, but the dog was hot on his heels. The manager watched in stunned silence as the dog chased him away, its determined growls filling the air. It wasn't just a pet anymore. It was a protector, a hero in its own right. Within moments, the security team arrived, alerted by the commotion. The thieves were gone, fleeing into the night, having been caught off guard by a dog they had underestimated. The hotel was safe, and the manager stood there, still processing what had just happened. His heart raced, not from fear, but from shock. He stared at the dog, now standing proudly, panting and wagging its tail. The manager's mind raced. This dog had just saved his life. He had rejected it, kicked it out, and now, here it was, saving the very hotel he worked so hard to protect. For the first time, he saw the dog not as a nuisance, not as a threat, but as a hero. The hotel lobby was eerily quiet as the manager sat behind his desk, his thoughts consumed by what had just happened. He couldn't shake the image of the dog, barking and chasing off the thieves, its eyes fierce with determination. It had saved the hotel, saved him. The manager rubbed his temples, a wave of guilt washing over him. How could he have been so quick to judge? How could he have kicked out the boy and his loyal dog when they'd only wanted to find a place to stay? He had turned them away without a second thought, dismissing the dog as nothing more than trouble. But now, he couldn't deny the truth. The dog wasn't just any dog. It was a protector, a hero. He stood up suddenly, the decision clear in his mind. He had to find the boy. He had to make things right. The manager walked briskly out of the lobby and into the cold night air, his breath visible in the crisp evening. He walked past the dark streets, eyes scanning for any sign of the boy and his dog. He couldn't let the night pass without apologizing. He had to show the boy he was wrong. Finally, near the edge of town, he saw them, just as he had hoped. The boy and his dog were walking down the street, the dog's tail wagging as the boy gently patted its head. They both looked up when they heard the manager's footsteps approaching. The boy stopped in his tracks, eyes widening in surprise. The manager paused for a moment, gathering his thoughts. Then, with a sincerity he hadn't felt in a long time, he spoke. I'm sorry, he said, his voice softer than usual. I was wrong. You and your dog. You didn't deserve what I did. You both have more value than I ever realized. The boy blinked, stunned by the sudden apology. He didn't say anything at first, unsure if he had heard right. I've seen what your dog can do, the manager continued, his voice filled with regret. It saved the hotel tonight. It saved me. I was foolish to turn you away. I owe you both. The boy stood there, his eyes slowly filling with understanding. He had expected nothing but more rejection, but here was the manager admitting his mistake. It was more than the boy had ever hoped for. I don't know what to say. The boy finally spoke, his voice quiet but full of emotion. Thank you for saying that. The manager took a deep breath, stepping forward with a small smile. I'd like to offer you a job here. It's the least I can do for all you've been through. Your dog. And you both deserve a place here. The boy's face lit up, a mix of surprise and gratitude. He hadn't expected this at all. A job. Here. It was more than he could have imagined. I'd be honored, the boy said, his voice trembling slightly. Thank you. The manager nodded, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. As they shook hands, he glanced down at the dog, who sat calmly at the boy's feet, looking up at him with a new kind of respect. For the first time, the manager smiled, a real smile, one full of warmth and genuine appreciation. He had never imagined it would take something like this for him to understand the true value of a dog, but now he saw it clearly. This dog wasn't just a pet. It was brave, loyal, and deserving of love. And as he watched the boy and his dog walk back toward the hotel, side by side, the manager knew one thing for sure. He had a lot to learn about loyalty, about love, and about dogs. The story of the boy and his dog didn't just change their lives. It changed the hotel manager's heart too. What started as an act of cruelty turned into an unexpected journey of redemption. The manager, once so quick to judge, now saw the true value of loyalty and love, even from a creature he once despised. And the boy, he found not only a job but a renewed sense of hope, all thanks to his brave, loyal dog. This story reminds us all of a powerful lesson. Never judge based on appearances, because sometimes what we overlook can be the very thing that saves us. Loyalty and love come in many forms, sometimes from the least expected places, even from a dog. If this story touched your heart, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing, life-changing stories. We've got plenty more to share with you, and we wouldn't want you to miss a single one. Thanks for watching, and remember, loyalty is a gift that should never be taken for granted.